Guys, what I'm about to tell you is very, very urgent, very important, and it can affect you. Yes, you, as well as me. And I'm about to open up on something that I have been scared to talk about for the past year. Okay? Now, bear with me on this, because I am seriously concerned about what's going to happen to me for letting this out. But I need to let this out. So, around a year ago, I was arrested on a charge of harassment. Bear in mind, I didn't know who I had harassed, what I had done. This was a huge shock to me. There were several police cars outside my house, a riot van, loads of officers here, there, and everywhere surrounding my house. I didn't know what I had done wrong. I was completely shocked, and they took me to the local police station for questioning. Whilst in the interview room, I noticed things that would normally take place didn't happen. In a normal police interview process, they would record the interview. There would be usually 2 police officers present, and there would be a witness statement or a statement of some sort from the victim. So you'd either have a victim statement or a witness statement or both, with some kind of evidence to prove why they arrested you. They had none of this. Not only that, they also didn't record the interview, and I had a look around the room and there was no CCTV in this room, which made me start thinking that this was kind of a hoax arrest, kind of a way to get me into the building for something else. The interview itself lasted only that of 5 minutes. And they said that it was for harassment of one of my ex-partners, and that I had been alleged to have been driving around in a completely different country, which was only Wales, in my vehicle, harassing one of my ex-partners that they knew that I wasn't talking to no more. Upon very recent connection with my ex-partner, there were no claims, no phone calls to the police, nothing like that, no allegations made against me from my ex-partner or any of my ex-partners from the past. After the 5-minute interview, 2 CID officers then came in the room. The officer that was interviewing me for the alleged harassment told me that there was some other people they said some other people that wanted to speak to me whilst I was there. These people came in and I identified them as CID officers because they had their badges on, a mistake that they must have made. These officers quizzed me, and what I believe to be a dictaphone recorded me and quizzed me for over an hour and a half of my political beliefs. They asked me what I was doing at Trafalgar Square, what I was doing at Parliament Square. The dates that they asked me were the dates that I attended the demonstrations of Tommy Robinson's, the one in Parliament Square and the one in Trafalgar Square. Now, the one in Trafalgar Square, I did a bit of security. I'm not going to say who for, but for his cameraman. And it was just a voluntary job. I had stayed in a hotel in London on that date, and I was there, backstage at Tommy Robinson's rally. And from that point, I was then forwarded and put into contact, because the next day I did the snap protest outside Downing Street, and used my YouTube channel to get people to assemble outside Downing Street for the protest, and had many confirm that it was because of my channel that they had noticed that after Tommy got arrested under terrorism charges, they made their way to Downing Street as we did a snap protest on Tommy's behalf there. 3 days after being quizzed at that police station, and they even gave me a lift home. How nice of them. I was scratching my head. They had my phone. They kept my phone. They tried scaring me also by telling me that they were also, well, I was lucky because they were also considering remanding me. For what? Now, they said because, when I asked, why would you remand me? They said, because harassment or stalking has a domestic side of it, they can have they can actually remand people like myself, men, until a court date or something like that happens. But I believe this was just a scare tactic to make me speak up even more, because I wasn't supplying them the answers that they wanted. And the moment that I asked for a solicitor, the questioning and quizzing stopped. It completely stopped. And within 5 minutes, I was bailed. So I was given a lift home. 3 days later, my YouTube channel, which was growing and was becoming a success. This was during the election. One of the election nights, I had 1,400 people tuned into my channel because I was the only one that did 24-hour coverage over the election. And I stayed up and I was tired, and it was a great night. And I received super chats, I received memberships, things that I'd set up on that channel. And with the help of people like Paul Thorpe and others who had promoted my channel and got people on board, my channel was growing and hitting the algorithms like no tomorrow. I was going somewhere. My channel was going somewhere. I had no strikes. Everything was fine. The things that I was talking about and reporting on and the activism that I was doing was going everywhere. A couple of clips that I made went viral. It had over 200,000 views. Some of the videos had amazing, significant amount of views. And the revenue that was coming in from YouTube was also building up. But that exact channel, 3 days after I was quizzed at the police station, went missing. Completely went missing. I then quizzed YouTube and Google on why they had done this, where the money had gone that people had given to me out of their own pocket, and they told me that I wouldn't have access to it. They kept the money, but I don't care about the money. What really annoyed me was the fact that I had started a channel, I had done so much content, and I had put up so many videos. I had over 1,000 videos uploaded onto that channel. Coverage of the first demonstration of the Unite the Kingdom rally at Parliament Square. I covered, and it was great. It was in great, what do you call it? It was in 4K, so you was able to see. I was at the front, so you were able to watch it. Every single speaker. And I edited it all, give the names of those who were speaking. It was a brilliant way to watch the rally at Parliament Square, which encouraged more people to come to the one in Trafalgar Square. Because, of course, people thought that the one at Parliament Square would have been full of football hooligans or whatever. Instead, no, it was, like Tommy said, it was a family event. It was a peaceful protest. It was a way of celebrating our identity. And that's what I shown. And I've shown that, and I put Tommy in a different light to them what others did. I didn't just cover it. I wanted to prove that this demonstration was a positive one, and that Tommy had a message that he wanted to share. You would think after removing my channel and after a false arrest, and after being quizzed and everything like that by CID, that would be enough. But no. A week later, I had a bang on the door, a loud bang. And there and behold was a man who identified as a prevent strategy officer. He asked me if I would take part in this prevent strategy and come along and have a meeting with one of his people that was on the team. Now, I thought this would be someone like Nick Lowles from Hope Not Hate, or someone like that. Some lefty snowflake that they had put me in front of to quiz me on my concerns. He said he wanted me to discuss my concerns with someone that's part of this organisation to see if that they can put my concerns at rest, or they can try and find some solution to my concerns, or put my mind at ease. In other words, brainwash me with left-wing indoctrination and try and tell me that everything I believe in is a lie and that I have been brainwashed by the likes of Tommy Robinson and the far right. I attended one of these meetings, and I will admit, I personally recorded it in my pocket just in case they started asking me questions about certain individuals, because in that way I could have then used my evidence to say to those people, if anything ever happened to them, that I did not say anything about them, give any information, and that I didn't, what you would say in today's society, grass anyone up. But the meeting was completely different to what I thought it was. In fact, the guy was quite friendly. The prevent officer sat outside, so he wasn't involved. And this meeting was set up in my local council building in one of their meetings rooms. But this went on for 2 hours. And the guy was just talking about my background, basically asking what it was like for me growing up. And I think he was trying to build a picture of who I am, why I had the beliefs the way I did. And then they asked me if I wanted to continue. But I thought there was no point, because it was almost like this guy was writing a book on my life. He was asking me questions about things that wasn't relevant to anything of why Prevent would want to talk to me about. Since that appointment or interview that I had with Prevent, I told them that I no longer wanted contact with them. I've asked them to leave me alone, which is something that they haven't done. In fact, every month I've received a text from the same officer that knocked on my door, asking me how I am, asking me if I want to meet up again. And I have completely ignored them and on occasion told them I am not interested. Please leave me alone. Since then, instead of being put off of making a new YouTube channel or something like that, I set up a new YouTube channel. And again, asked for help from those who have bigger platforms to help build me up. Immediately, I was shadow banned. Immediately, the algorithms went the complete opposite way, not in my favour. Immediately, some of my content was removed. Comments were removed. Subscribers were removed. Things just went missing. And I've just watched, what's his name, Barack Amari, or the Amari Show, whatever his name is. Lovely lad. He's an amazing reporter and podcaster. And he too has lost 3,000 subscribers from a video I have literally just watched on today's date. Okay, let me get today's date, because I don't know, I'm not good with dates. It's Tuesday, the 29th of July. So we're talking days after the Online Safety Act has come in place, that Barack Omari his show, he has lost 3,000 subscribers. They've just disappeared. He doesn't know why. He's figuring out why. I know why. But more to the point, personally, the very day the Online Safety Act was put into place, my personal and 12 to 15, well, I'd say it was 15 years old, 15-year-old Facebook account that I used for just my family purposes and photos and my personal purposes got disabled. I had no warnings. I wasn't told why they disabled it. They just did. I tried to appeal it. They denied the appeal within an hour. It was done. Done and dusted. Completely gone. I had albums upon albums of photos and videos of my activism, but also of personal stuff. Photos and videos of friends, family, both dead and alive, that I will never ever be able to retrieve again. Milestones that my children made. Memories of my dogs that have sadly passed away since, that I will never ever get back. Activities that I took part in. Days out, trips, holidays, abroad. Places that I've been to, places that I've seen, things that I've done, achievements that I have made. Completely gone. All of it is gone, and I cannot get it back. Albums upon albums of Halloweens, holidays, just completely gone. My boy catching his first fish. Things like that are priceless to me, that I cannot get back. Yes, you can say part of it's my fault for not backing up those photos and videos on some kind of memory or hard drive. I completely agree. But like some of you, I did use Facebook to store all my photos and videos because I thought nothing would ever go from there. I never thought ever that my Facebook profile, especially my personal one, which I never shared anything bad or anything like that, would disappear. And strangely enough, Stride Council are ringing me now, which I'll put in the overlay. And going back to my Facebook account, I also had a lot of people that I have met during my whole life. People that probably won't be able to find me again on my Facebook. People I've met in hospital when I've been in hospital and stayed there. I've had photos with nurses and doctors that thought that I was going to die. There's some memories that I keep to remind me of why, because I am a recovering alcoholic, why I don't drink anymore. Because I nearly died on several occasions. I've had internal bleeding 3 times to the point where I've died on the operating table and they've had to defibrillate me back to life. Okay? And I've had these photos with my family. I've had photos of me lying there in the hospital bed, which are not nice photos, but they are photos to remind me of why I don't drink. They are photos to help that I use to tell people I don't want you to do the same things that I did. And I used to use these in talks that I've given in schools and help that I've done with probation with young offenders. That is all gone. And the 1,600 friends that I had, they're all gone. I only have those, luckily, because I have a backup profile, because I knew this was coming. I have 200 and something that have managed to find me. But I know they're coming for me next on my YouTube channel. But anyway, to rub salt in the wounds. So you got to think about this. The very day that the Online Safety Act comes out, which is supposed to be for children, so Keir Starmer says, it's supposed to help the safety of children, to stop them from accessing suicide websites, so he says. Well, that's what he said in front of Donald Trump at Donald Trump's new golf course. It is nothing of the sort. This is to censor people like me and you, who have concerns for this country. Concerns about the safety of our children, concerns about the safety of our women, concerns about the demographic change taking place in the UK, concerns of Islamist attacks, concerns of tyranny and corruption taking place throughout our government. And that is why they want to shut down not just me, you, the likes of Mahyar Tousi, or James Harvey when they arrested him the other day, or Barack Obama, who has just lost 3,000 subscribers, or to force those to flee to Spain because they want to make them feel unsafe. Because we have had many YouTubers go into hiding. And don't get me wrong, right? Some people can make their personal choices to move away. That is completely up to them if they feel unsafe. But they should not be made feel unsafe in Britain when they are British themselves, when their heritage and their bloodline goes back centuries. And more importantly, recently I've been speaking about and been open about the sacrifices my family have made to this country. Talking about my great-grandfathers enlisting at a young age, lying about their age to fight in World War II. Talking about my uncle, who was described by The Sun as Britain's most highly decorated officer, who was best friends with the likes of Mel Gibson, Daniel Craig, Sean Penn, to the point Sean Penn's the godfather of my cousin Frankie. And I highlighted all this in other videos that you can see on my channel that is currently alive and up at the moment, but I know will eventually get deleted. But let me tell you something. The very day that I find out my Facebook account got disabled, a few hours later, I receive a text. Guess who it's from? Prevent. To rub salt in the wounds. And do you know what they asked me? How are you, Byron? How is everything? Are you okay? These are the same people I have asked me to leave me alone. I am not interested. I do not want to take part in your prevent strategy. And they have already confirmed to me that I'm on the police database labelled as a far-right extremist. Okay? So this is what they're doing to people now. This is what they are doing. But it gets better. It only gets better from here. Instead of backing down, instead of thinking enough is enough, I know where this is going. Eventually, it's going to lead me down the path of imprisonment or something like that. I thought to myself, no, I'm not doing this. I'm going to put my head above the parapet, put my foot on the accelerator, and I'm going to make this bigger. I am going to talk about getting boots on the ground, and I'm going to talk about doing protests and marches in every city and town in the United Kingdom where grooming gangs have taken place, where any scandal or any problem is taking place, so that people can hear us and it can encourage and motivate people to join us. And I was talking about apps. I've been targeting those with big platforms, messaging them, asking them to get me on board with my knowledge, skills, and also plans for the future of an application where we can all, as the Unite the Kingdom movement, can all have access to a place called home. A place where there are forums. A place where you can access content from everybody who you love watching. Be it Mahyar Tousi, Trigonometry, Tommy Robinson, Barack Obama, all independent journalists. Even the dating aspects of it, to promote love and family, unity. A place where people feel at home, where they can meet and talk to like-minded individuals. A place for information, where you can find out where the nearest protest is to you, so you don't have to travel to London. A place where you can sign petitions en masse. So if we had every single person from the UTK movement sign up to this app for a small fee, we can use those fees then to build bigger demonstrations and to go elsewhere. be it the Senate in Wales, be it the government or offices outside in Scotland or in Northern Ireland. And we can actually then unite the whole of the United Kingdom rather than just staying within the confines of London. That's what I started doing, and that has obviously scared the establishment. So what did they do? They messaged me again. Today. Even again, when I have told them to leave me alone. So we've already established that they've falsely arrested me. That they done that just so that CID could get in a room with me and quiz me about people who I know, what I was doing, and try and get information out of me, which they weren't successful with. So what they did as a result of that, because I wasn't compliant with them, because I didn't give them what they wanted, they removed my YouTube channel. Because I went to this Prevent meeting and they got wind that I recorded the interview. They got wind that I put out there what they were doing and that they targeted me and knocked on my door and that I said about it and I spread about it and put it on YouTube. They then removed my Facebook, my personal Facebook account that I have had for years with all my memories, photos and videos, thinking that would discourage me from making content or talking out or speaking out what is taking place in the UK. And if that wasn't enough, the very day that they do that, they text me asking me how I am and asking me if I want to meet up again. It's almost like they're saying, if you do not come to these things, we are going to keep targeting you. And I do not know what's going to happen next. I really do not know. But what I do know is you see those blokes with cameras that are only facing in your direction. I'm talking to yous that are holding the Union Jack or the St. George's flag. You see that they call themselves intelligence gatherers. They have very, very highly expensive equipment that are identifying your faces. They're gathering information and they are doing identification things. And you can confirm this with the likes of Paul Thorpe, who have been stopped at airports, who have been stopped at certain places where they're traveling and commuting and being stopped for whatever reason, right? And your accounts are going to go. They're going to get your names. They're going to use these videos to analyze and use AI or whatever technology they have on their database to picture every single one of you out and make sure that they've got your faces, to make sure that your names are on the system. And you too will be labelled as far-right extremists. You too will be targeted. This will be at every single protest, be it outside migrant hotels or on the streets, outside any building, any protest that you go to, and there's these intelligence gatherers or big vans that are just parked and stationary that you've never seen before that have cameras on top of them, just be mindful. They're watching you, they're collecting information, and they're going to target you at some point in the future. They have already said they have put in and invested into this new elite team. Yes, the Labour government have put in a hell of a lot of money, which they haven't disclosed, but I'm about to go and find out and do some investigating myself to find out how much money has gone into this, to see what is going on. And I know exactly what is going on. It's going on to find out who you guys are that are attending. Whether you are an old granny minding your own business, that just cares about the country, that wants to support their daughters and grandchildren for the safety of children and women and the most vulnerable in society. They don't care. They want to censor you, tell you what to do, And you'll have knocks on the door by PCSOs, local wardens. You'll have all sorts of types of people knocking on your door asking you to stop attending these protests, stop attending these marches, or you will be arrested. And for those who have YouTube platforms like myself, Mahyar Tousi, Paul Thorpe, you name it, trigonometry, the Lotus Eaters, people who are, say, YouTubers, influencers, self-proclaimed journalists, independent journalists, they will all be targeted now and told that if they continue making content and talking about the things that they are talking about, which they won't actually be specific on, they'll just say, if you continue to talk about what you are talking about, you will be arrested. They will start threatening people now with arrest, and we will find ourselves in the same situation as Tommy Robinson was, as the same situation Peter Lynch was, as Lucy Connolly was. As if it wasn't enough, they were already monitoring social media already. They have taken it a degree further, and they are using these cameras to gather information, your faces, that if you're on their database already, they'll find out who you are. And if they can't do it by then, that's when they'll do it, when they've got digital, what do you call it? The digital identity cards that they're going to bring in. And believe me, they are going to bring in. There's already plans for it. They're already planning it now. It will be coming to force at some point next year. Mark my words, this video will age well if it's still up. But not only that, if you've had a passport or a driving license, your photo's already on the database, and they will use connections that they have with these companies to get those photos so that they can match. That's what that money has gone into. That elite force that they have just pumped a hell of a load of money into to find out who you are. So if any of you haven't been arrested in your life before, they can still find out who you are by your photo with your name, address, and give you a knock on the door. And if you keep going to these protests, and if any of you speak up against it, then you are going to get not just a knock on the door, but a very big knock on the door, a barge through the door. And you'll have exactly what happened to Alex Belfield, who now is luckily out again after serving 3.5 years, which people, again, forgotten about. And he is on license. But you watch, he'll be recalled. I can guarantee you they will recall Alex Belfield just like they'll send Tommy back to prison in October. They'll recall him too, or they won't give him bail. I put money on it. I'm telling you now, the way this country is going, although we knew that it was falling already, the freedom to protest, we already knew freedom of speech was dead and killed off by the Labour government, but the freedom to actually peacefully protest is now on the brink of being completely eradicated for us. They've already started paying lefties and the unions to get them to attend these protests, to stand against you, the far right. But that's not enough. So they're already using our money, taxpayers' money, against us, the people. And that's without, let's considering the two-tier judiciary, the two-tier policing system, the mass immigration, the treating of foreign criminals that are invading our shores. That's without the treating us as second-class citizens to them, giving them access to healthcare and dentistry and resources and things that we can't have access to currently. Free bikes, free phones, you name it, during a cost of living crisis, whilst our grandmothers had to suffer through a winter without their winter fuel allowance last year. Oh yes, we are going through it, ladies and gentlemen. We are going through it. But I am telling you now, I am being personally attacked and I need you to help me. This is madness. I am being harassed by the prevent strategy, harassed by the establishment, censored and silenced, and I'm backed up in a corner and I don't know how to get out of it. I really don't know how to get out of it. And do you know what the worst part is? Is I don't even have a huge platform. I don't have a huge outreach. It's just because I have exposed some people. I have stood solely, and they have stood this. I have stood on my own, protesting with a microphone, speaker, draped in the Union Jack, outside offices of those that were hanging a 40-metre long Palestinian flag in my hometown, where hundreds of thousands of people can see it on their day-to-day commute. And they have messaged me, asking me, can you go and report on this? Can you go and say or do something about this? And I went in the offices. I tried to get hold of Dale Vince. And I've messaged the journalists that have reported on it. And all I have seemed to have got back is abuse. That is all I have got back. But they know that I'm not worried about being in a group or people lining up with me, that I will go out on my own and speak the truth. They don't like the truth. They don't want the truth to come out. And what really grits me the most is when I see that Starmer's face on television, acting and pretending like this is not like what it sounds like it is. When those in Reform or in the Tories are standing up saying what you're doing is treating adults like children. Effectively, if you're saying you've put this online safety bill in place for children, you're treating adults like children for not letting them access certain websites for this, that and the other. It's got nothing to do with suicide things or anything like that. It's to do with censoring you from being able to speak up and speak out. And the measures they have put in and the money they have funded and what they have done to Meta, what they have done to YouTube, what they have done to all the social media platforms is basically said to them, we are going to not let you continue working in our country unless you put these provisions in place and let us collect information and the data that we need to silence and censor those who we need to. And that is happening on a scale like you would not believe. Now you're probably thinking, why are you telling me all this? What is it you want from me? Nothing. I'm simply just warning you that this is going to grow. This is going to... It will come out eventually, and it will become on the news at some point. I'd give it a month or two, when a few people have been targeted to the point that even the mainstream media will have to say something. But they're going to start locking up people soon, and I know that for a fact. And the worst part is you know, about a week or two ago, when we found out about the extra refugees that we secretly imported from Afghanistan. And then I made a video saying, yeah, did you know I made a video of this last year on the channel that they deleted because I met Palestinians that have also been imported over here secretly. It's stuff like that. The truth on and things and subjects that I have spoken out of that nobody else knows about, the police are obviously monitoring. It then gets sent to certain bodies and they go, how the hell does he know this? So, of course, I might not have a big platform, but it's what I'm talking about that worries them. It's information that they don't want coming out to you guys, because all it takes is for this channel to one day, of one video to go viral, and then a hell of a load of people subscribe, or one YouTuber that has a large channel to promote mine, and then they get access to all these videos and information. So then they can see everything that's gone on in my hometown, everything that's taken place in my life with Prevent. Prevent to me is like an ex-girlfriend I can't get rid of. A shit that won't flush. It is literally that bad. The amount of times I've even blocked their number and they can still get through to me. They can still text me. Look. This is mind-blowing. They will not leave you alone. Once they have your information, they will not leave you alone. And there are many ways they can get your information. Be it through British Gas, be it through the passport agency, be it through HMRC. There is so many ways. Your face is on so many things that you don't, and so even the NHS. If you go to the doctors and go ask them to look at the summary of you, they will have a picture of you on there. Now ask yourselves, since when have I let a doctor or a nurse take a picture of me? Go and find out. I'm telling you guys, please. Go to your GP surgery or the next time you're there. Have a look at your patient summary and you'll see a photo of you. A photo of you will be on there. There are photos of you everywhere. Your driving license, passport, and every time you walk past a camera in town, that's it. We are the most surveilled country in the world. And London is the most surveilled city in the world. But it's not just London. Every ANPR system, every single camera that you walk past now is watching every move you make. And I'm not doing this out of like scaremongering, clickbait, anything like that. Because as you guys know, who are subscribers of mine, my YouTube channel is demonetized for a reason, because I chose for it to be demonetized. I don't want money from YouTube. I can't have money from YouTube. I am classed as disabled. I'm awaiting a liver transplant. I am sick. I'm ill. Okay? I'm on countless of medications. You only have to take a look at my medication box to see that the only thing I would be able to do with your money is pass it on to my children in a couple of years when I've kicked the bucket. I don't need money. I don't want money. I don't want super chats. I don't want to set up memberships. I don't want to set up any kind of like Patreon or buy me a coffee or anything of that sort. That's what I take every day, and that's at a minimum. That's less the painkillers that I have to take, right? Because I know where I'll be within the next 10 years. But the thing is it won't shut me up. The more they press me, the more that they anger me, and the more that they keep personally attacking me, the more I'm going to put my foot down on the accelerator. The more I'll expose them. And if that means I'm going to have to start standing outside their very own offices and telling people what they're up to, I will. Because I'm not one to back down. Unfortunately for them, like you, I have that British Anglo-Saxon DNA in me that says no to tyranny. That says I will not back down. That says I am willing to put my head above the parapet and fight for the truth and fight for my country, regardless. So, and I know you're watching, those who are trying to attack me and make me feel like I'm backed in a corner. Well done. You're doing a good job. But you're not going to let me get knocked down. And it's going to take more than COVID jabs. And it's going to take more than what you're doing now. It's going to take more than locking me up for the final years that I have of my life, if that's what it takes. That's fine. Because if I can at least just reach 10 people to warn them of what you're doing and what you're doing to people like myself, that are just simply speaking the truth, my job is done. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry to have this rant, but I need to make you aware. And I feel, and I just want to say this very quickly, I will never, ever, ever consider taking my own life. Ever. But they know I'm onto them. They know I've released information that some of the bigger platformers and YouTubers don't know about. Some of the literature and verses from Islamic books and texts that I've revealed to some people during debates and stuff like that, that no scholar or any Islamic foundation in the UK would want to be public knowledge. But that's what I want to do. That's what I specialise in. I'm a student of religion. I study that, philosophy, theology. I'm deep into it. But I do that as well as politics and everything. Why? Because I've got all the time in my hands. Because I can't work due to my liver. I'm waiting for a transplant. That call can be at any moment. And when that call is made, I literally have an hour and a half to go to Birmingham with my hospital bag. And that is it. And then from there, even from the hospital bed, I will still be making content for you because I love you. You're my brothers and sisters in arms. And I can't fight for my country like my great-grandfathers did, like my grandfather did or my uncle did, with a gun, jumping out of planes or anything like that. But I can do it this way, by speaking the truth at a time where our country is in its worst. It's at its worst place. Where we are being replaced as a people. Where we have a government so tyrannical that people are being locked up for dirty words. Where people like myself are being targeted by Prevent, banging on my door, consistently texting me even though they're blocked. On days, the same days when my YouTube channels go missing, the same days when my personal Facebook profile accounts get disabled. What a coincidence. Is it a coincidence? It's not. It's to rub salt in the wounds. It's to say, we done that. All it is confirmation. And if they can do it to me, they can do it to you. They can do it to anyone. So I warn you, and I've warned you so many times in the past, be careful what you share. I'm not telling you not to turn up to these marches. If anything, the opposite. Keep going. Show your face. Show your faces. But don't let these guys bully you in a corner. If they arrest you on false charges like they did with me and make you sit in front of CID officers and quiz you, ask for a solicitor. That's what you have to do. They will disappear straight away. Had I knew that at the start, I wouldn't have let them quiz me for as long as they did. But it was the moment that I asked for a solicitor, they were gone. They didn't even let me ask them for their names. They were gone. And there's nothing I can do about it. Because the solicitors, any lawyer firm cannot get access to the police database. So they can't see what's been done, what's being said, what's being planned, nothing. They can only be there with you when you're being interviewed under caution or under a charge. And that is it, or defend you in court. So that, my guys, it's just something that I wanted to share with you, my personal experience. And I'm going to go on live later to talk about it as well. And hopefully I'm going to get some help with a couple of people who I've spoken to about this already. Because, the absolute violation that's going against me. When they arrest me for harassment, falsely arrest me for harassment, and they're harassing me like no tomorrow. I have literally had to get locks for every single door in my property. I have literally had to put signs up of CCTV in every single window of my property. I've had to put CCTV up around my property. I've had to do all sorts to make myself safe. I've had to come up with plan A's, plan B's and plan C's to make sure that my money is safe. That everything that they can have access to is gone. Any way they can hurt me or try and get to me, I'm trying to remove that access for them. Put a blockade there. And you may call me paranoid, you may call me whatever you want. Trust me, I'm living it. I know. When your Facebook account gets disabled one day and you get a text from Prevent, you tell me how you feel. When at the same time, just over a year later, after you've been falsely arrested, 3 days after, your YouTube channel goes missing. Oh, wow. Anyway, I'll leave you with that. God bless you all. May Christ be with you. I love you all. Whether you're, and again, I always tell you guys this channel is for everyone. Whether you're an atheist, agnostic, Muslim, Hindu, Sikh, Christian. I am the patriotic Christian. However, and I do encourage those to follow the path of Christ and to go back to the Christian ways of this country, or at least acknowledge the Christian culture that our government and our country was built on. That's all I encourage you to do. Even if you're a Sikh, even if you don't belong to Christianity in whatsoever in any shape or form, all I ask you to do is acknowledge that this country was built on Judeo-Christian principles and values. And if you can do that, then you belong here. Everyone belongs here. This is an access for you to get information that you won't get elsewhere. Okay, where you can see, and I'll give you content that nobody else does. There's nobody else that goes out on their own like me, standing with a microphone and speaker outside buildings that are taking the PISS. Okay? And I'm willing to go face on and head on to those that are causing tyranny and asking them why they're doing it. I go after the bullies. I'm one of those. That's what I do. And I'm the only person that I can say to you that will be honest with you about stuff that's happening within the movement, stuff that certain people are doing that you might be watching or have trust and faith in. And that will all come out in time. There's certain things that have to restrict that. Possibly because people are making videos that are going to come out in the pipeline and it will come out at the same time. Stuff like that. But that will all make sense in the future. Anyway, guys, lots of love. Speak to you soon. Bye.